There are two things that I know to be true. Payday has a lot of paid DLC, and I am powered by spite. What you're about to see is the result of these two facts combining and happening concurrently. A few years ago, I had someone come by my chat and tell me explicitly that there's only one good build to use that's even viable in Death Sentence. Okay, he didn't even say Death Sentence or Death Sentence 1 down, he just said higher levels, however you want to interpret that. So naturally, I did nothing with that information. I created a few builds that I had fun with, but wasn't anything crazy exciting and never really went anywhere with that. However, I do think about this claim sometimes. Can't help but think that there's actually something to this. Looking around at community-generated content doesn't help either. Talking to the community in broad strokes reveals one of the more popular and effective perk decks would arguably be Anarchist, which, don't get me wrong, it's for a good reason, but it is also part of a paid character pack. Going deeper and finding guides vetted by the community will reveal a lot of weapons and, more importantly, weapon attachments are considered the de facto go-to when making builds to help in Death Sentence, like the Speculator site, for example. Trust me, when I was starting out, this was a bit of a road bump for me when finding builds to use. But that's the point, it's a road bump and not a road block. Today I thought I'd take a moment and showcase a handful of builds that use no DLCs at all to demonstrate not only DLCs are required to do well, but also to showcase at least some variety with what you can do with what you got. And yes, all of these builds are effective on Death Sentence 1 down, as all footage showcasing these builds were shot with either Death Sentence or Death Sentence 1 down in mind. And while yes, all the builds will be showcased on screen, you can get a copy of each build in the description below. So without further ado, I figured I'd start this list with Armorer for a few reasons. Armorer in of itself has a lot going for it. You have a consistent 2-shot setup against heavy swats, a 2-second God mode, and faster armor recovery all built in. It's great. The only downside is the point cost getting to the ICTV, but you can still squeeze a lot out of your remaining skill points. Furthermore, it's regarded as one of the most consistent perk decks in the game, and by that argument, this will be the most consistent build in this list. So if you're either new to the game and trying to learn, or if you're trying to learn Death Sentence in particular, I would start with this build. When talking about LMGs, the common saying is to use the regular KSP instead of the KSP 58. The KSP 58 is still an LMG, so all you gotta do is just slap on some body expertise, surefire haste, and crits from Unseen Strike, and you are good to go. I threw on a grenade launcher as a secondary to help with crowds, shields, and bulldozer visors, but keep in mind I have shotgun on ace, so your LMG can also take care of shields at the very least. If you'd like, you can swap it out for something like a submachine gun with a higher base damage than the KSP, which can help with dozers if they're giving you a hard time. Furthermore, if you'd like, you can swap out the doctor bags for first aid kits so you can use uppers, or you can swap out the ammo bags for bullet storm. You can also swap out some points so you can get a Joker to use Hostage Taker if you would like that extra bit of sustainability, but that's up to you. Treat this as your friendly reminder that Copycat is a free perk deck, and a very good one at that. It can give you a 2-shot health or 2-shot armor setup, a 2-second god mode on health damage, free HP on headshots, and the occasional free reloading on your stowed weapon. Shotguns have a bad rep because they kept getting nerfed and touched by overkill over the years, but they aren't bad by any means, and the Goliaths are no exception to that rule. The component of the build I want to focus on here, though, is the 5.7. It is a free community weapon, but most builds that use it call for using the flash hider as a barrel attachment, or a barrel extension, and for a very good reason. The flash hider increases your damage to 128, which satisfies a damage breakpoint, allowing you to kill light swats and, more importantly, normal shields in one shot to the head. Otherwise, it takes 2 shots and your ammo economy will take a hit. However, this is a DLC from the Gauge Mod Courier Pack. Thankfully, the FacePunch Compensator reaches that same breakpoint while being a free community DLC, so you can throw that on no problem, save for a whopping 1 point of concealment. Not that you don't have a few points to spare already. Same as the first build, you have a few options. You can swap between first aid kits or doctor bags as you see fit. You can take away transporter for a second joker or parkour if that's your speed, or you can take another deployable. You can technically swap out the Goliaths for the Judges or Grims, but I personally wouldn't recommend it. That is right, my friends. The most busted combo in Death Sentence 1 Down can be feasibly recreated with no DLCs at all, for the most bullshit of reasons. Although the patches are a paid DLC as well as its unique attachments, the akimbo variants are absolutely free to use. Same goes for most of the submachine guns in the game, save for the ones released near the end of the game's lifespan like the Miyakas. This then poses the question, if that's the case, why not use like the CR-805s or Tatankas, as those are going to be the better weapons here in this category? And I have my reasons stemming from the fact that we still have some limitations to work around. In short, I found the patches to be in a very nice sweet spot between being somewhat concealable in order to hit 23 detection risk to get crits, while still maintaining high levels of accuracy and stability. Between having a lower level of recoil per shot and having a lower fire rate, these things are very, very easy to control and sustain fire while still being, well, akimbo SMGs. If you want, you can still make the CR-805Bs or other 100 damage SMGs work, but your mileage may vary. Furthermore, although most cookie cutter builds for akimbos will use the ammo bag and a 5.7 as a secondary, I intentionally took a miss on that and used a sustainable SMG to use when you're out of ammo on your akimbos. And not only that, I used every DSOD carrier's favorite, the Mark 10. This is also why I have Shotgun Aced on this build as well. If you'd like, you can swap this out for another SMG with a similar damage value, like the Signature, the Heather, the Para, or even the Chicago Typewriter if you want. Or you can swap back to ammo bags in the 5.7, I'm not going to judge you. You can then take those 6 points from acing Shotgun and place them wherever you'd like. Just know that I stayed at 23 concealment for a reason. If you can get to 3 or 4 concealments so you can take low blow basic instead of aced, be my guest, but I would not recommend it. In the words of Mitch Hedberg, Stoic used to be a hallmark of tankiness and sustainability for a long while. It still is, but it used to as well. While throwing ICTV on Stoic is strong and fine and well and all, you can still use lighter armors for hitting lower concealments, which is what I did here since we're not using Berserker for a damage boost. The Tempest is very, very strong for a free rifle. It's best in its damage class in terms of fire rate, so with enough stability and recoil control, you have quite the powerhouse. Keep this in mind if you want to do lower concealment builds in the future. I'm reusing the 5.7 again. Do note the 2 jokers to ensure maximum uptime on your hostage taker. Despite what the internet tells you, first aid kits aren't mandatory for Stoic, and while they can help do some wacky stuff, it pales in comparison to how helpful hostage taker is over the course of a heist. That being said, I still have facts here, but you can swap it out as per the usual. I'm not going to lie, this is personally my favorite build on this list. It's Crew Chief, you have a sniper with grays, you're buffing your team by just existing and having hostages, you have Inspire, it's great. I'm personally a fan of the 500 damage sniper class. While you can go absolutely nuts with a 168 damage sniper with Berserker or even a 255 sniper, I'm fond of what the 500s can do on paper. They can one-shot light swats and shields to the body without needing to make a headshot. You deal way more damage per shot against bulldozers when their visors are gone, and most importantly, unlike the 255s or 168s, you can one-shot cloakers to the head without needing crits or any other damage buff. The amount of times I've gone down by a cloaker tanking a headshot from a zerked up sniper is enough for me to rip my hair out. 500s don't have that problem. I saved this build for last though, as it was the only free-to-play sniper available. Emphasis on was. The Platypus 70 alongside a handful of other weapons and heists were delisted effective August 18th, 2024. If you have acquired the game after this date, whether you're on Steam or Epic, the sniper won't even show up in your inventory and will be inaccessible, and you'll have to purchase one of the various sniper packs or weapon packs that has a sniper in order to get a hold of any sniper. So if you have it, great, enjoy the build. I use the Krinkov here since it is a 100 damage SMG with a high rate of fire to help take care of bulldozer visors quickly, as well as being a quick holdout weapon if you run out of ammo on your primary. Swap that out if you like, otherwise this build is pretty straightforward to do with what you want with it. I just recommend holding on to both jokers so you get the most benefit out of Crew Chief, but besides Hostage Taker, the usual things like Duck and Cover Basic and Bullseye, this build is what you make of it. I've mentioned Berserker or Zerk previously in this video. For those newer to the game, I'm talking about a skill in the fugitive tree that increases your damage output the lower your HP is. Most players will find a way to damage themselves at the beginning of a heist, then protect themselves with armor from either the armorer or anarchist perk decks and enjoy a nice damage boost. Instead of molotoving ourselves, since that requires the Gauge barbecue pack, we could take the extra 8 points needed to reach and acquire Frenzy to cap our HP for us, giving us a fully automatic rifle that can two-shot heavies to the head. The only other free rifle in this damage class, though, is the AK-762, so take of that as you will. You could also scrap all of the crits and concealment boosting skills, put them towards the ICTV, and go back to armor, but where's the fun in that? Overkill Aced is a weird skill, but can be fun to play with once you get the ball rolling. So remember how I said the players take like a 168 damage sniper, booster damage, and then just go to town? This is another method of getting that to work. The North Star is a very good sniper rifle once you get the side jobs complete on the attachments. Not to mention, some of the set attachments like the stock and grip can be used in other weapons, so they're just free stat increases. Just my personal complaint is that the ammo economy is low, so just do keep that in mind when you're going through, just don't spam willy-nilly. Another note is you do need to have sniper kills to unlock the rifle initially, so this does run into the same problem as the crew chief sniper build. If you don't have the platypus, this build will not be accessible for you. But for those that do have it, have at it, and here's a quick tip for you. One of the side jobs to get the attachments is getting double kills. Graze does not count. It has to be 2 kills with a single bullet. Something at least I didn't know about this challenge until I was trying it on my free-to-play account is that this still works even with mutators enabled. This is very unlike the other achievements and trophies in the game. I was able to take care of this incredibly quickly by setting the Hydra mutator to max, booting up a Shacklethorn auction, which is a free heist by the way, setting up shop in one of the closets, and then unloading into the upper halls as they duplicate. You'll get those double kills in no time. And there you have it, 7 different builds, each using different weapon classes and perk decks to suit as many different playstyles as I could. You can definitely see how I like to approach building for more sustainability, but do take these builds with a grain of salt in terms of their rigidity. You can definitely use these as a reference point to change them how you want as per each build. I definitely had a lot of fun creating these builds, and I hope this helps out at least someone, either you're passing by looking for builds with less DLC, or for helping a friend just starting out. So enjoy, knock yourselves out, and have fun, and I hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you around.